welcome to my Pandas Eyeshadows update for the month of May. This project revolves around choosing random eyeshadows from your collection and either hitting pan on them or hitting some other goal on them. For me, the two other goals that could come up are using this product 30 times or doubling the size of the pan if it's an item that I already have pan on. I have quite a bit of pan already floating around in my collection, and I didn't want to exclude those items from this project. Let's start by looking at the items that were in the project last month, starting with this NYX Ultimate Edit in Ash palette. I had rolled in this neutral shade. It's sort of an ash blonde. I love this shade. It is such a pretty neutral. I found myself using it all over the lid quite a bit. There's what that looks like. I have used this 7 times. That is actually a little bit less than I'm really aiming for. I really try to get 10 uses on each shadow every month. That means that after 3 months, I am able to roll out everything. However, this was a bit of a shorter month for me, not because April has 30 days instead of 31, but because I'm needing to pre-film this quite a bit ahead of time. So I only had about 20 days, getting about 2/3 of my goal. I think I'm right about on track. I think another reason that I didn't get quite as much use out of that neutral shade that we just showed was that I also had this light gold from the Maybelline City Mini palette in Chill Brunch Neutrals, and they are not the same shade, but they are a similar enough vibe that if I wanted to go neutral, I felt like I could just pick either one of them. There isn't quite enough contrast there for this to be a really great outer corner shade if I wear this lighter, more peachy one all over the lid. There is some, and I did try that a couple of times, but it just wasn't quite enough. So I found myself really choosing either this or this, which I think led to both of them getting a little bit less use than they might have otherwise. Though I actually did a pretty good job with this gold shade. I used this 11 times in the past month, and it's only been in for 1 month, so I am actually somewhat exceeding my usual usage goal. Now let's move into some of the singles. The first one we have to talk about is actually not in this project anymore. This is, well, was a shimmery white shade. I actually rolled it out last month after hitting 30 uses on it. I'd hit pan, and it's so disappointing. I just dropped this last night as I was getting ready to film a different video. I dropped my magnetic palette and 3 shades just self-destructed all over my floor. Everything else was fine, even though there were like 20 shades in the palette, so I'm very grateful. But yeah, I had some pretty major pan on this one too. Bummer. The last shade that we will not be rolling out has been in for 2 months at this point. This is a NYX shade. It is from their Avant Pop palette, and it is a matte taupe shade. I had a lot of really nice neutrals this month. I found myself largely using this in my crease. It's actually how I'm wearing it today, though I've had my makeup on for 10 hours at this point, 11 hours at this point. So I think that this particular shade is kind of worn away. I had it pretty sort of lodged in the very deepest part of my crease. I've used this, I believe, 8 times or 9 times in the past month for a total of 21 uses. That is right on track for me to be able to roll it out at the end of next month. The next shade is actually one we're going to be rolling out. This is a very yellow gold metallic from Wet n Wild. This was originally in their 32 pan palette. I have used this 28 times. It has been in for either 3 or 4 months. I'm not exactly sure which. And I have not hit pan, but I'm so close to the 30 use mark, and I know that this next month is essentially going to be 40 days instead of 30, that I will just make a point of using it twice over that time. I don't think that will be difficult. It's a color that I've really come to enjoy quite a bit. I'm wearing it today actually in the center of my lid. I have layered a very yellow glitter over it, so it is not quite as impactful as it looks at the moment, but it is a really nice shade. It is really a nice level of brightness where I can make it pull somewhat gold to almost make it into a neutral, but it can also be very yellow. I'm a really big fan. Another really fun color is this next one. This is again from Wet n Wild and the 32 pan palette. It is a turquoise blue. It's really lovely. I used this 13 times in the project and I hit pan a couple of weeks ago. You can see there's actually some pretty sizable pan in there. I think that this project is a really good one for me and that it gets me to experiment with these more unique shades. I mean, this is not something that I personally would think to try to work into like a really everyday, otherwise neutral look generally, but when it's in the project and I'm trying to get to 30 uses, I do find myself seeing how I can incorporate these sort of more interesting shades into my otherwise pretty boring choice in eyeshadows. So there's 2 rollouts. The third is actually kind of surprising to me. This was just rolled in last month. This is from Wet n Wild. It was originally from their Petalette quad, and it is a matte light purple. And I think you can see, I think the light's catching it just right. There are actually 3 tiny little spots of pan all in a row in there. And yes, they are tiny, but pan is pan. I used this 12 times to hit pan. I'd used a ton of it previously. I used it quite a bit last summer. I feel like it features in most of my tutorials from that period. And I continue to really like it, both as an eyeshadow and as a blush. Usually at this point in the video, I show a little narcissistic montage of various eye looks that I've done over the course of the month using these shades. This month, I just didn't feel any need to, because I felt like the great majority of the looks that I came up with either only featured one shade, or they were basically putting one of these 2 shades on the lid, this in the crease in the outer corner, and then blending things out with the purple. Anyway, these looks were not anything groundbreaking, so instead of wasting time on a little slideshow, let's skip right to picking my new shades for the month. Because I am going to be on the go so much this month, I wanted to stick to my singles as well as a couple of little palettes that I had also considered bringing with me. The smaller palettes are my Maybelline City Mini palette in Shell Orange Neutrals. There was a shade from this in last month and it will remain in the project, this light gold. My other Maybelline City Mini palette, which is Mad About Town. It's like a Naked Basics kind of palette. The third is my NYX Ultimate Edit in Ash. Again, there's already a shade from this palette in the project, and I suppose now there's the potential to roll in a few more. So I have my random number generator pulled up. We have numbers 1 through 62 available, and the first one is 35. Just counting through 6, 12, 18. It'll be in my big ColourPop palette. 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35. This is a very golden bronze. I believe this is actually my Wet n Wild Mega Glow highlighter in a bronze shade. I don't remember what it was called. It's one of their Mega Glow highlighting powders. Ooh, that's pretty. Certainly not a highlight on me, but a very, very pretty shade. I think that I can get a lot of use out of that. Next to my green eyes, I think that's really going to pop. So I'm excited for that. Next up, we have shade 51, which 40, 42, 46, 50, 51. I actually don't know. These might be a little too similar. We shall see. This is a sort of a deep orange metallic from my Wet n Wild 32 pan palette, I believe. You know what? Those aren't too terribly similar. This is like a more of a blood orange shade, while the other one was more of a orangey bronze. There's that shade. Okay, this is interesting. Fun color combinations. And next we have number 4, which we started with this one, didn't we? Which is already in the project. That would be 1, 2, 3, 4. So time to re-roll. 61. 61 would be the second to last shade available to us, which would, oh cool. Literally, it's a silver shade. This is, I believe, On a Whimsy from ColourPop. Yes. And it is stunning. Let me show you this. It is absolute, like, Diet Coke can silver. There we have it. Okay. Again, we're going quite neutral this month. I kind of worry that I will have the same issue as I did last month, where I felt like the shades didn't really go together. I ended up picking just one of them in every look, but honestly, that's fine by me. We can try it out. We'll see how it goes. I have 40 days this month to get used out of these shades, so I am sure that I can find something to do with them. I'm really looking forward to playing with that silver. That is stunning. And I don't know that I've used... I do not know that I've used this red-orange more than once or twice. That will be a good one to play around with as well. And with that, I think I am set for the month. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoy these Pan Those Eyeshadows videos, I will have my playlist linked up in the card. That will have the introduction video, all of my updates, as well as the 1, occasionally 2 eye looks a month that I do, really honing in on these shades. Thanks again for watching. I hope you consider liking and subscribing if you enjoyed, and I really hope that I will see you next time. Bye!